So what happens when pure, innocent devotion bumps up against, the rules of the world? We're going to dive into this really beautiful, simple story that asks exactly that. Let's get right into it. All right, so our story kicks off in this little village, and it's all about two young best friends. You know the kind. They did everything together, played together, went to school together, totally inseparable. So their bond was obviously super special. And one morning, that bond led them to a place that was just as special. They both got this idea, this pull to go visit the local temple of Lord Krishna. So they're standing there in front of the idol, and they are just completely captivated by how beautiful it is. And right there, in that moment of total awe, the exact same thought hits both of them. We have to offer something to this god with our own hands. But you know how it goes. This pure, beautiful wish, well, it immediately smashed right into a very real-world problem. They decided, okay, bananas. Bananas would be the perfect offering. It's a simple idea, a sweet idea, but there was one tiny, pretty significant catch. Yeah, the problem was they had zero money. Absolutely none. Not a single coin between the two of them. So what do you do then? Well, their eyes fell on the temple's donation box, the hundi, and using all that cleverness only kids have, they managed to, shall we say, fish out a few coins. Then they were off. They sprinted to the market, bought the bananas, and raced right back, so excited to finally make their offering. Thing is, their little plan wasn't quite as secret as they thought it was. Turns out, the temple priest had been watching the whole thing unfold from afar. So you can imagine the priest is in a tough spot here. On one hand, he's genuinely moved by their pure devotion. But on the other hand, well, you can't just ignore that they broke a pretty big rule. They took money, even if their reason was good. So he's torn, but he has to do something. He decides on a punishment. He tells the boys they have to run 50 laps around the temple as penance. But here's the funny part. To the kids, was this a punishment? Nope. It was just another game. They happily said, okay, sorry, and then immediately started running their laps, laughing and chasing each other all around the temple grounds. Okay, but the story isn't over, not by a long shot, because right as the boys are happily running their laps, the temple gets a very important visitor. A wise sage, a Pitha has just arrived. And the moment he walks in, the first thing he sees are these two kids just joyfully running around. So naturally, he turns to the priest and asks, what's going on here? So the priest lays it all out. He tells him about the boys' simple wish to offer some bananas, how they creatively found the money, and then, of course, the punishment he gave them. The sage listens to this whole story really intently, and then he does something totally unexpected. He looks over at the two boys running, and he bows to them, a deep bow of respect. And then he just turns around to leave. You can imagine the scene. The priest, everyone else there, they're just stunned. They rush over to him like, Swami, wait, why are you leaving? You haven't even seen the Krishna idol inside. And this is where everything changes. Because what the sage says next reveals that he saw something that nobody else did. A much, much deeper truth about what was really going on. It really all came down to perception. See, the sage explains it very simply. He says, you all saw two kids running laps around the temple. But what I saw was 3. He goes on to explain that Lord Krishna had accepted their pure, heartfelt offering so completely that he didn't just take the bananas. He actually joined them. He was sharing in their punishment, running right alongside them like one of their friends. So for the sage, why would he need to go inside and see a stone idol? The real sighting, the true presence of the divine, wasn't locked away in the temple. It was right there, outside, the living God playing with these kids. He had already had his darshan. And that really leaves us with something to think about, doesn't it? The story seems to suggest that maybe the purest kind of faith, that innocent connection from the heart, maybe it goes beyond any rule book we can write. So it makes you wonder, does true devotion follow the rules, or does it follow the heart? What do you think?